Hello everyone and welcome back to Mystic Tides Tarot. Today we will be doing an Ancestor channeled message. Now feel free to pick whatever card, oh no, not yet, whatever card calls to you. And for anyone that would be interested in knowing this, I guess I'm just going to share it because I feel called to. This deck I specifically use for ancestors. So this is ancestors only deck in my personal witchcraft practice. I felt like sharing that because that kind of gives the reason as to why I'm using this deck. I know that there's a lot of tarot readers that they'll read with any deck for any specific reason or purpose, and you can definitely do that. But in my personal experience, when you have a deck that talks to you and calls you to do very specific type of readings, then I feel like it's respectful to follow that thread, if you feel me. Okay, so let's see. Card 1, card 2, and 3. We have the Seven of Wands, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Hermit card. Okay, so go ahead and take your time, pause the video if you need to pick your card. And I will have the timestamps down below for the pile corresponding to the card that you feel most called to, okay? Hello, pile number 1. You are the Seven of Wands. You are perhaps somebody that in the past has been called a witch, or maybe you have thought about stepping into that path yourself. And this isn't something that maybe you felt comfortable with in the past because it felt very, it just didn't feel safe to do that. And maybe that's one of the reasons why you didn't want to call yourself that, even in secret. So if that resonates with you, then welcome to your reading. And let's go ahead and get started with this message from your ancestor guide. This one. Oh, 2 came out there. Did not expect that. And I don't know why I pulled these like that. We have the Chariot, the Sun, Justice, King of Swords, and the Tower. Wow, we have a lot of cards here. A lot of majors, I mean. What is this? A little piece of candle residue or something, I hope. Okay. Actually, like this. So Chariot, the Sun, Justice, the Tower. This is a big thing. This message is coming through because there is a time that's going to be hard for you coming up. We see that here with the Tower. And the Tower can be so many different things, right? It can symbolize something that is going to shake us. And it may look like something very small on the outside to others, but it is very big for us as we're going through this. And I did mention earlier that this could be someone who is feeling called to the path of witch, to the label of witch for one reason or another. It could have a lot to do with liberating yourself, using your voice, using your inner power, stepping into that inner power. And with the Chariot, this confirms to me that you're doing that actively. It is a movement that is happening. Like I said before, it may not be something that others can actually witness. It may not be something that somebody could from the outside point at and be like, oh, look, I saw them. They were over here at Walmart and now they're at Ralph's. You know, it's not that simple. It's subtle. Even to you, maybe it may feel subtle, especially if this is something that's new to you and you're not really sure how these energetic currents work. It may feel like not much is going on, but big things are happening. And the Chariot is confirming this for us. Then we have the Sun and Justice. So the Sun tells me that this is something, you stepping into this path and walking this, being seen for who you truly are, is something that your soul has been needing. It is going to give you the balance that you've been needing. Maybe you felt off balance your entire life, and the Justice card here tells us that it is time for you to do this, because you are basically going to be giving yourself what you deserve in the best way possible, because the Sun is paired with the Justice card. These two did come out together. That's why I'm reading them like that. And that's also why, like, they're down here as opposed to up here. Then we have the King of Swords. The King of Swords is someone who is, they're the cool cucumber in any situation, even in an altercation. They're not going to showcase any type of immature action or any type of anything that would be considered like a tantrum. Like, you know how some people, they've had it, so then they explode. And to some people that don't understand their emotions, it comes off very immature. It comes off like, oh, wow, like, did that really have to happen? Like, that is not the King of Swords. The King of Swords is the cool cucumber. He's cool, calm, collected, and he is a master at communicating, and he knows exactly how to say the things that he needs to say to be understood. So this coming out tells me that either this ancestor is going to help you reach this level, or that you're already there and you just need to realize it, which is beautiful. Either way, both sides of that coin are like chef's kiss, right? And like I mentioned before, the Tower card is just a representation of what this may feel like for you, because you're coming out of the broom closet, if you will. The movement may not seem like it's a whole lot, but it really is. It feels heavy, so that's the confirmation that it is a lot, because it doesn't feel heavy because it's something small. And the reason I'm impressing upon that, and I'm really trying to zoom in on that, is because I come from feeling that way in the past, where, you know, you hear about psychic powers, psychic gifts, and channeling, and you hear about all this energetic wonder, and you feel that you're a part of that, but at the same time, maybe you don't know what it's supposed to feel like. So you automatically think that it's not for you, or you're doing it wrong, or it doesn't present itself the way it's supposed to. And you almost take your own power and magic away when you do that. So I kind of want to impress on you hardcore that it's so subtle that it may not feel the way that perhaps Hollywood has made it seem like in movies. You know, they have to have a movie, right? Where, okay, maybe they don't have to have a movie, but what I'm trying to say is the movie is visual. So they have to have a visual representation, because that's the easiest way to portray what's going on a screen, is having the visual representation of what they want the audience to understand. That is not how real life happens all of the time. A lot of these gifts, these psychic gifts, these energetic shifts are so subtle. If you are too busy in your head, if you are too busy on the earthly realm, too stressed, you will miss it. Okay? So I'm just trying to impress upon you that big things are happening energetically for you, even if they may not feel like it, but you are going to feel heavy because of this coming out that's happening, okay? And I'm just here to remind you, and this ancestor is here to remind you, not only are you prepared and ready to be seen, this is something that you deserve and that's for you. And you have this backup, basically. This, not backup. How do I want to word that? Give me a good word, Spirit. Come on. You have like your own agents, basically, your own bodyguards, your own, I want to say this word in Spanish, escolta. I don't know if you understand what that means or not, but you have like your own army, and it's like you don't even know it yet. So your message from your ancestor is all of the above. It's like, we know what you're going through. We have your back. You deserve this. Things are happening for you in a big way. They are going to feel big, not in the best way, but this is all for your greater good, because everybody will feel better when they start reclaiming those things that they weren't sure of even were there for them, and then take those to step into their power. That's a beautiful message. And that's all I have for you, Pile 1. I hope that you take this and you run with it, and I wish you the best. Until next time. Hello, pile 2, and welcome to your reading. Whoa, whoa, whoa. These are already going a little crazy. Okay, so pile number 2, you are the Ace of Pentacles. So something is starting up for you. Specifically, we're talking about on this earthly realm. Like, this isn't like, I'm not saying it's not spiritual, but more than anything, it's something that you're going to be able to see or touch. It could be job related. It could definitely be material, like wealth related, but it's an opportunity. It's being handed to you by someone. And let's find out what your ancestor has as a message for you in regards to this opportunity, pile 2. Okay, this one's coming out. This one. Let's do one more. This one right here. The Sun, Queen of Swords, Two of Cups, the Fool, the Hermit. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3 major arcanas. And a court card, and then the Two of Cups. Okay. Okay, like the cards look straight on my table, but I think my phone is crooked and I really don't want to adjust it. So I know some people don't care, but it's like bothering me. Just kind of wanted to say that. Let me see. Does that look better? Oh, who cares? Get to the message, girl. Okay. So, like I said, an opportunity is being handed to you. Your ancestor is telling us that this is an opportunity for you to be seen, for you to shine, and it's going to bring you a lot of joy. The Queen of Swords tells me that you're someone who really has a beautiful, like, story to share or a beautiful voice, and you're letting somebody or something or maybe even a thought hold you back from fully expressing that. And in order for you to be able to step out of that, you need to set boundaries for yourself in terms of, like, for example, you need to play out the worst case scenarios, but not so that you can scare yourself into hermit mode, but so that you can actually put up the proper boundaries. So you run a worst case scenario in your head. Like, let's just say your biggest fear is that you share something that's really close to your heart and it's very vulnerable for you, and somebody has something negative to say. Like, let's just say that's one of your biggest fears. So you run that worst case scenario. Now what? What if that does happen? What boundary do you need to raise? What boundary do you need to post up? I don't know why it came out like that, but what boundaries do you need to set in place so that you're protected in case that happens? And maybe that boundary looks like, okay, well, if that does happen, that person's automatically blocked. I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're my family member. And let's just say that's what your boundary is. Then you can actually do that thing with less fear. Doesn't mean it's all going to be gone, because that would be way too easy, right? Like, that's not the way life works. But yeah, that would be an example. So you have a voice that needs to be heard. You're being encouraged to share it by your ancestor guide. And what you need to do is run the worst case scenarios. Either find out they're really not as bad as you think, and or set up those boundaries to protect yourself just in case, right? And then with the Two of Cups, the Two of Cups can be seen as a card of relationship and love, but I'm not seeing that here as like a romantic partner. I'm seeing it here as the connection that you have with the divine, with your ancestors, with your guides. And this is kind of just them telling you, like, we see you and we understand that the work that you've been doing feels really heavy, but it is time for you to put some of that work out for others to also see. Okay? And the Fool is that reminder of sometimes you got to just leap before you're ready. Sometimes you just got to go for it, no matter how unprepared you think you are. Because the only way that you learn more and become more experienced so that you do gain that courage is by running through the fucking simulation, right? I don't know why I said simulation. I guess maybe you're one of the people that think that we're living in a simulation. I'm not going to comment on that right now, but maybe that's why that came through, because I have no idea where that word came from. But yeah, run through it. Run through it, because that's how you're going to actually get the data that's going to help you be better. That's going to give you the courage. That's going to give you the confidence so that you don't have to think about the worst case scenarios every fucking time before you take that jump. Because this is something that we encounter for the rest of our lives constantly. It's never like, oh, I'm just going to prepare and then when I'm ready, I'm going to go, because you're going to be at different states of preparedness in different categories of your life for the rest of your life. It never stops. And maybe we can take a moment to like cry about it for a little bit if we need to, but then we need to get the fuck back up and do the damn thing. And this also doesn't mean that you're going to take like crazy ass leaps in every single area of your life all the time. Like, pump the brakes. It's not all or nothing. And I think that that's something that you also needed to hear. Because you can take a leap of faith in one area of your life and all the other areas of your life are fucking cool as hell. They're chill. Nothing crazy is going on. So it makes that leap more manageable. Also understand that we are not robots and we're also not meant to go like full gas all the time, right? So taking that leap doesn't have to be full gas. It could be, let's just say you weren't doing anything. Let's just say you weren't doing anything because you kept on running these scenarios in your head and they were scaring the shit out of you. You weren't putting up your boundaries. So you weren't doing anything, right? If you just apply 20% of the gas, that's still more than what you were doing, right? And I don't think that people understand that putting 20% of the gas, which is a lot more than 0%, is still taking that leap. A lot of us think that taking the leap is full 100, run, grit your teeth, white knuckle it. That is not what it has to be every fucking time. And I want that to really sit with you, because that keeps us frozen. Thinking that we have to be 100%, thinking that we have to be the master of this craft in order to take that leap is fucking ridiculous, because you do not become the master of your craft by practicing 1,000 times alone in your bedroom most of the time. Because the moment you put that out there and you think you're the master of your craft, somebody is still potentially going to possibly tear it down. And what are you going to do? All those hours, all you did was just run the skill, but you never ran the skill of being able to take critique, to be able to put your work out there and have someone not really care for it and you still be like, that's fine because I know what I'm worth, I know what I did. And you only build that skill of being able to take that type of response by putting yourself out there again and again and again and again, and you build that callus. And maybe, you know, you're a really sensitive individual. I'm sensitive myself, and that's like probably why maybe I'm sounding a little aggressive right now. I'm not sure. But because I've had to tough love the shit out of myself in so many situations, it gets so exhausting and tiring and annoying. But what is your other option? And I really want you to journal on that if you don't know what that is. Because the other option is you stay the same. The other option is stagnation. The other option is you not living your life. Right? Lastly, we have the Hermit. Now, it's funny because it's like, put yourself out there. You need to be seen. And then at the end of this, we have the Hermit. And the Hermit comes out here because the Hermit's this reminder that just because you put yourself out there, just because you took that leap of faith, doesn't mean that you're constantly going to be exposed. It doesn't mean that once you're out there, you're never going to be able to get a moment's rest. This is a cycle, right? You put yourself out there. You put up your boundaries. You know, you go ahead and take that leap. Now rest and recover. Take that feedback. If it was good or bad, take it. And then think about how can you become better? Not for the critique, not for the people who bashed on you if they did, not for the people who complimented you, because we also don't want you catering your art, your imagination, your creativity to somebody else. It's for you, okay? But take all of that with a grain of salt and heal, because all of that, all of this required effort. It required energy, and it requires recovery. And this isn't just recovery as in I'm going to lay in my bed and sleep. This is like mental recovery, spiritual recovery, emotional recovery. And then taking that recovery as a way to really embrace and ingrain your newfound knowledge. Which, like I said, doesn't mean that you're taking everything everybody says literally and trying to apply it. It's more of what you learned because you went through the experience of putting yourself out there and receiving said critiques and or compliments. What did you learn about yourself, about your craft? What now are you bold enough to explore further because of that? Those are the types of questions that would be very beneficial for you to ask yourself at the end of putting yourself out there and doing all of this, okay? Okay, pile 2, that's all I have for you. I hope that this ancestor message gave you something to work with. And thank you for watching this. I will see you next time. Goodbye. Hello. Whoa. Hello, pile 3. You have the Hermit Major Arcana card. Now, I love the Hermit card because for the longest time, it represented my comfort space. I loved to just be in my room, reading, analyzing, writing down, coming up with ideas, finding out new ways to dissect my brain. It was like, it was my jam. I just felt the call to share that. So I don't know if that helped anybody, but let's see what your ancestor guide has for you today. Okay. Whoa. Okay, last one. I think this one, yes. 5 of Wands, 6 of Pentacles, 5 of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, Strength. Ooh. Okay, 5 of Wands, 6 of Pentacles, 5 of Pentacles. This right here tells me that there's a struggle. There is a struggle. 5 of Wands is also a card of like some type of combativeness, and it's fiery. So this could be combativeness with a passion project or combativeness with attempting to find a way to make that passion project come to life. You may not even know exactly what that is yet. And then the 6 of Pentacles is kind of like saying that things need to get brought into balance. And the fact that this is in the middle of these two cards, and these are both fives, it's kind of like a balance between these two that are at odds, because the 5 of Wands is a combative card and the 5 of Pentacles is a card of scarcity. It's a card of someone who is not really being able to see all of the resources that they actually have available to them. And then the 6 of Pentacles being a card of balance, of give and take, amongst all types of things, whether it be you and another person or your passions and maybe your work, because the Pentacle suit is a lot to do with the mundane, with the worldly, jobs, job security, security in general, the physical, money, things like that. So it's kind of like this fight, this imbalance between the passion projects and also what you actually have to do every day, whether that's your job or the money that you have to make every day. And the 6 of Pentacles is kind of like saying, in order for you to balance those things out, you're going to have to give and also take from different areas. Okay. And I feel like this is so obvious. So I don't know, maybe this is something that you knew for a long time, but just didn't want to accept or weren't ready to accept. But it coming up right now was telling me that now was the time to do that. And the Hermit being here is telling me that you need to plan. You need to make a plan of action. Here with the Page of Pentacles, we have someone who is at the beginning of something. So like the beginning of this perhaps. And in order for them to take the next step, they're going to have to also create some type of a plan so that they can know what step to take next. Because you can get all fired up and be excited and start something and still have no idea what goes after that. This doesn't mean that you have to create a grandiose 5-year plan just yet, but at least like write out like the next 5 steps just so you can see that it's manageable. So don't make it huge. Like make it small, make it bite size, okay? Because you're new to this. This is something that you haven't done before. This is something that I would even say that you're kind of a rookie at, which also makes it intimidating and scary. And that's why the Strength card came out here, because your ancestor is telling me that the strength that you have is enough to carry you forward, but you just haven't met it yet. You've known that you can do hard things because of the other areas of your life, but this is new to you, okay? And it's so new that you don't know that you have the strength that it takes to see it through, because you've been focusing on the things that perhaps society has told you to do. They tell us you need to get a job that's decent, you need to make some good amount of money, you need to pay your bills, you need to work on your credit. You know, society tells us to do those things. And not saying that those things are all bad or that they're bad at all, but it's kind of like that's what you know. And this passion project that you have, or these passions or these hobbies that really fill you up, they really make your life worth living, is something that you haven't allowed yourself to pursue because society doesn't tell us to do that in any way other than, oh, that's just a hobby. No, the fuck it's not. I'm telling you right now. It is not just a hobby. And I'm feeling called to pull more cards. This is the only pile that I felt this for. So I'm going to put these to the side here. Let's see what else your ancestor guide can tell us about this. What else do we need to know? Oh, okay. This is coming in hot. The Eight of Swords. The Six of Wands. The Five of Cups. This one also wants to come out. Oh, I kind of messed that up. Okay, whatever. And then the High Priestess. Okay, Eight of Swords. This is the card that tells us that there's something that we're not seeing. Okay? And this is because we've been laser focused on one thing. And maybe that one thing was, you know, like that job, that societal type of pressures. That's what we were focusing on because that's what they told us we had to build. That's what they told us we needed to work on. And that's what you've been working on. So you've been ignoring perhaps the passions, right? And this is telling us there's something you definitely haven't been seeing. Whether it's this, I don't know if you know what this is yet or not, or whether it's telling us that it's time for you to take off that blindfold and really see everything. Not just, you know, the physical aspect of your life, but the spiritual, the passion, the fire that's also in you. Because then we have the Six of Wands. As soon as you take that blindfold off, as soon as you start seeing the whole picture, you have this celebration, you have this congratulations. And for me in this card, and maybe it's because it's this deck, but I feel like this is like your spirit team. This is your ancestors, your guides. They're the ones that are celebrating you because they're proud of you. And then the wands also, wands. It's like this graduation from the 5 to the 6, from being in this like this combative state of like, do I really need to even pay attention to this? And you know the answer is yes. You've been feeling lackluster in your life, and this is how you get out of that, okay? But this is that graduation. You have to go through this to get to that Six of Wands, that celebration, to feel like you can even celebrate yourself. I mean, when was the last time you celebrated yourself? That's a question. But Five of Cups coming after says that this is not a smooth transition. This is something that might make you feel sad, maybe. It may make you feel like you're losing something. Because when you start focusing on something else, even though that is like a passion project of yours, or it's something that really lights you up and that really makes you feel alive again, you're going to have to dedicate time to it. So where's that time coming from? You're going to have to kind of move around things. And so time allocated to something else needs to be brought into this other section or sector of your life. So that tells me that that other thing that you're pulling that resource from might suffer a little, but not in a negative way. But it might feel that way because you're so used to performing at a certain level in that one place. But what do you got to do, right? Like, that's what you got to do. And then the High Priestess at the end here is telling me that you following through with that and going through that is an initiation for you. It's not something to take lightly. It's a big deal. It's a big step. And the Hermit card being the main, like, card that you picked also tells me that you're someone who understands what this is. Even if you have been focused on the physical, you are a spiritual person. And this initiation is going to really confirm that for you. It's going to show you how spiritual you are. But you got to feed that other part of you, not just the job, the work, the societal expectations, the money-making moves. And this doesn't mean that you're not going to make money, okay? This doesn't mean that you're going to be poor. That's not what that means. That's why we had... Oh, here we go. That's why we have the Six of Pentacles, because it's a give and a take. It's not just a take. It's not just a give. Okay? Wow. Yeah, this is beautiful. Your ancestors really are pushing you here. They are telling me that this is extremely uncomfortable for you, but look at that reward. That is so worth it. I hope that this gives you something that you can work with, pile number 3. It's been a pleasure reading for you. and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.